If you are a spiritual entrepreneur, no doubt you know the power of networking, the power of using your social influence and your social structures to be able to find collaborations and service exchanges and, of course, connect you with ideal clients. The question is, why, when so many people network, do they not go beyond the outcomes and results of just a friendly chat with someone? And how do you make those connections? How do you network in a way where you're starting to find those outcomes that benefit you and, of course, your business? Well, I decided to run another group coaching call after the weekly collaboration call in the Serving Circle to discuss all of this. I discuss all the things that how I build the Serving Circle and what I do for my networking. And we also get the expertise of Jennie Eriksen, who's got 20 plus years building communities, networking, to learn what to do and what not to do. So what we're going to go through here is, one, you're going to learn what I do for my personal messages and the questions I ask my audience. Two, the things to avoid, the mistakes to avoid, so that you don't just waste your time when you're doing these efforts. And of course, three, how to explain what it is you do and how it is you do it that makes people want to connect with you. So I'll put Jennie's links below. I've also linked below the YouTube link to the Lead with Heart group project that I mentioned here in the episode. So feel free to check those out for some extra resources. Connect with Jennie, she's awesome. And of course, it's here and in the Serving Circle where you help elevate the consciousness of the planet through the success of your spiritual business. If you're a spiritual entrepreneur, be sure to subscribe. I love when you support the content. Of course, I'll see you in the Serving Circle when we start collaborating with your soul tribe. Let's dive in. Well, I think what would be cool, I'll give you an understanding just very briefly of how I started networking and the power that it can sort of unveil. Because I, about 3 years ago, started reaching out to people on LinkedIn and on Facebook and testing and tweaking what worked, what didn't work. Surprise, surprise, sending a link saying, hey, send me $30 doesn't work. But I didn't actually try that. But if I started asking myself the questions around what's a message I can send someone that, one, is different, two, that adds a lot of value, three, with very minimal risk. And they're the sort of questions, and some of you have done some of my trainings. I did a Lead with Heart group project that a lot of you joined, and I sort of walked through how I do my personal messages, but it really walks through how you can build this momentum of people in your life. Because let's say, how would your business benefit if you met 3 people and those 3 people connected you with 3 people? All of a sudden you got 9 people. And if those 9 people you're all meeting, and then all of a sudden those 9 people introduce you to 2 other people, then you got, 18 friends or whatever, or even more, that more new friends, that all of a sudden it's just a snowball effect, right? Now, obviously I've found how effective that can be. And I thought, how can I leverage that? Hence the Serving Circle. So that now everyone's meeting everyone. It's not just me meeting people, it's everyone meeting everyone. And it's sort of just like the benefit of a global community that's heart-based, that has the right intention, that can introduce everyone to everyone. And so I thought I'd give a couple steps of what I say when I got started, that I found, wow, this is effective. Because we all know on LinkedIn especially, or even on Facebook, the personal messages can be very spammy, to put it bluntly, very, very spammy. And you can feel the energy of a message when you read it, and someone has clearly just sent that as a lead generation strategy. And what does your brain do? It says, oh my God, I need to click on this because I'm really excited to read it. No, it it immediately kicks in this response. It says, oh, this person's just, doing this as a lead generation, and there's no connection there. They don't know me, and therefore there's very little value and actually high risk internally in your energy system. It's high risk to engage in that because they're obviously not there for your best interest. Therefore, it's tough for them to engage in that way. So what I started doing, I sent the very first message of this kind I sent to my friend, Johan Nagera, who's here in Melbourne. I looked him up on LinkedIn, and he's just incredible dude, built multiple businesses here in Melbourne that are multiple six figures. And he's got 3 mentors that are billionaires, but his energy is so heartfelt. He's so kind. He's one of the most compassionate people I know. I'm like, this is someone I want to have as a mentor. This is someone I want to have in my network. I reached out to him, and the very first message I sent was along the lines of, I saw you on LinkedIn. I saw you doing this stuff. I'm starting to network with these sort of people. So while I'm doing that, who can I send your way that would be an ideal client or a key source of collaboration? Now, immediately in that message, it says, hey, I've looked up your stuff, make it personable. But then also it's very, very high value, because on no effort on his behalf, what if he has someone searching through the networks that could offer him clients or collaborations? Very high value. It's also very low risk. For him to send a message, say, hey, here's my ideal client, here's who I'm looking for collaborations, is very low risk, but the upside is immense. So what did I do? I learned that, started networking with all these people, and started sending people his way, right? Started sending people his way. And not only did the relationship start off with that much value, but every piece of value that 2 people can come together. Let's say I bring together 2 people who have built $1 million businesses with combined 50 years experience in business. What value does that create? It's infinite. And that infinite creation of value is attributed to me for the connection, right? So I just started doing that with everyone. Now, what happened there? On my birthday last year, he called me and he said, Tice, you probably don't know this or remember, but you introduced me to someone. His name is Walter, and Walter was also on the call. I'm like, hey, Walter, how you doing? And he's like, yeah, good. He's like, and they said, we know it's your birthday. We want to send you a happy birthday. While we do so, we want to let you know that as you connected us recently, we've started a whole business together. We've started a whole business together called Comet Suite, which gives people this platform with so much benefit. It offers lead generation, emails, CRMs, all this stuff. It's crazy. And people pay about $1,000 a month to be on the platform. And they said, because you connected us, we're going to give it to you for free for life. Not only for connecting us, but also on your birthday, so happy birthday. And as that happened, I was looking back at all the networking I'd done, all the people I had connected, and all the ways it had served my business as a byproduct. That one, my mind could not have predicted. Could not have predicted that these 2 would come together and behind my back build this huge business together. And it's obviously immensely profitable and doing very well. And it's crazy. So as you implement this in your life, in your business, could you see how you can start networking with people who are either ideal clients or key source of collaborations for you, and asking those types of questions to them, asking the types of questions to them that are very high value, very low risk, and then just allow this momentum of people connecting with people to grow. And as that does, guess what happens? They get to like and know and trust you. They get to connect you with people. And through the byproduct of just the networks, you get to share more about who you are, what you do, who you're looking for, and everything starts to kick off in that way. So they're the sort of things in which I had started. Obviously, I've learned a few things along the way, but that's how I got started, with asking those particular questions and building that momentum. So with that being said, can you see how you could also apply something similar in your business? And do you have any particular questions? Do any questions come up for you guys in terms of how you can apply it to your own life, or what I did next? Who's got questions? Beatrice, you got questions?
I want to say that this is fabulous sharing. I really, really like it. And I have experienced that it does indeed work, because you connect from the heart, not to this extent as you are doing it. So it's very inspiring to hear how I can use it more. Mm-hmm. So for instance, I ask a very simple question in my connections, and that is specifically on LinkedIn, because I'm a big LinkedIn fan. And a believer that that's where a lot of our clients are, even if a lot of people don't realize it yet. But I asked the question, what is your biggest talent? Because I think, and I get a lot of feedback that people love it. So this is just a simple question I asked to connect. And I totally agree with you that all the people that are just connecting with you and then basically trying to sell you something straight away is very uncomfortable and not the way forward. It's totally not our future, and marketing is changing, and we have to align it with who we are. So my question to you is, what kind of questions do you ask? Just to give us a bit of an idea, to give us a bit of a frame.
Totally. Well, sometimes when people you always want to ask what's in their benefit. So it depends on who you're engaging with. Mm-hmm. So what's in their benefit? If I'm reaching out to someone who's in corporate, it's going to be, my questions are probably going to be very different than someone who's a solopreneur trying to grow online. Or if they're a single mom who's just trying to get by day to day. It really depends on who you're engaging with. So for example, if someone joins the serving circle, I'm asking them questions that are in their benefit, like how can the group benefit you most? What type of podcasts are you looking to get on? Are you looking to get on podcasts? Because that's one of the major ways we collaborate. Obviously, I ask what it is they do and specifically how the group can help most. Are you looking for service exchanges? Are you looking for collaborations? Are you looking for more appearances on podcasts or speaking engagements? Just trying to find ways in which they're looking for help so that this community can come together to support them, right? And so I can easily guide them to certain resources or people or calls and events that we're doing, depending on what they feel like they need most. But obviously, it's of service straight off the bat. It's of service saying, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how your business can benefit. This is how we can help and who I can send your way. Even something like that. I mean, something as simple as, hey, I have this community. Who is it I can connect with you that would be of most of service? I'll search through my network for you. And then literally just connecting them with people that you think they need to meet. And it's very easy. It takes 2 minutes for me to search through my network, another 1.5 minutes to connect them on Facebook, and then immediately just get them off to a really, really good start. So it really depends on your clients and the people that you're networking with. By the way, the people that you're networking with might not be client, but they might have, a network of your clients. So things like that is what I generally ask.
A lot of times when people go to networking meetings, they're thinking about what they're going to talk about to sell their stuff and how to get across what they're doing, when actually networking is all about active listening and building relationships. It's a long game. 20 years ago, when people turned up in person with business cards, balancing a cup of tea and trying to talk to somebody, is no different to how we do it today, but we have the amazing ability to do it globally online. So it's about building relationships, cultivating relationships, and asking questions of other people and trusting the process, the reciprocity, and building relationships with a message that people understand. So you could go to 3-4 networking meetings every day, 7 days a week. There's gazillions of them out there. But unless you're clear on what you do and who's a good fit for you or how you can help somebody. You're just a nice person that somebody meets in a breakout room. So people will say, oh God, I met Susan this week. What does she do? Oh, I don't know, but she was very nice. And that's a shame. So many people are wasting their time because they're so intent on selling their stuff or word vomiting all over people and not working with the ebb and flow of the relationship and asking the questions. And, often I will ask people questions in a breakout room in that opportunity. What's your big ask? Who can I send your way? And you would imagine they go, God, thank you ever so much, Jenny. I need this and this and this and that and that and that. And a lot of times people go, oh, I don't actually know. I hadn't even thought of it. Oh, thank you for asking that. Because everybody who, no, it's not that. Let's be specific. I've got a magic wand. I can wave my magic wand. What do they look like? What are you looking for? And it actually makes people think an awful lot, because we're just so geared to this, what we think is just an exchange. I do this, you do that. Let's talk about it. But the magic is, as Tyson so rightly says, building those relationships, making a connection, saying, who to look out for you? How do I help and support you? And the law of reciprocity, or whatever you want to call it, the universe, is very, very powerful. We're in 2022. I still have connections with people I met right back in the early 2000s who ping me a message. Jenny, I just met Susan. She was talking about, I thought of you. Let me leave the two of you for a conversation. That could be a LinkedIn or a Facebook or whatever. And that's the amazing thing about it. It's a long game of actively listening and helping and supporting somebody, and not necessarily being able to do it in the first instance, because we've got to build that trust. If I'm going to share people I know and connect people, it's about getting to know people too. But the magic is building the relationships and being able to say 3 months down the line, gosh, Tyson, you're asking for something and I thought about it. And, here we are, suddenly I've met somebody and I would love to introduce you. And then, I don't want to send a gazillion people Tyson's way because he's looking for something that I think might be a good fit. I don't know. I'll just give him all those names. I really want to listen to understand perhaps what his need is on an occasion or what he's looking for, and know that when I meet somebody, there's an amazing opportunity, because I understand what he does. I understand what somebody else does. I want to send the two of them off for a LinkedIn or a Facebook conversation, and the rest is down to them. But there's no use my sending somebody's way if they're not a good fit. So that's what's important. It's always keeping engaged and listening for other people and how you can help and serve and support them.
Beautiful. And for those just listening on the podcast, that's Jennie Eriksen. So 20 plus years in networking. So one of the questions I have for you, Jenny, is what's some things that people can keep in mind of when sharing their message? Because you just explained how the message is so important of being clear and having that, transfer to someone else, of understanding who they can send their way. What do you have some tips or some guidance as what people can have, what people can work on or focus on to make sure that their message and what they're communicating is clear while networking?
Be very, very clear on who you serve. A lot of times people will say, I help everybody. And that might be true. For example, you could be a travel agent, and a travel agent would say, I could send anybody anywhere. And that's very much true. But when you drill down with somebody and say, but what do you really like to do? Who do you really serve? Especially with online networking, we can see that almost that switch in behavior. So a travel agent could say, I can send you to Spain. I can send you for a lovely holiday in Spain. Yes, but what do you really like to do? And then you'll see a change in a behavior and language. Or I really like to send people on cruises, kids when they go on Disney cruises, or people that I celebrate. And you think, there you go. You're the cruise expert. There was a switch, a subtle switch. The congruency between what came out of your mouth and your body language. You're the person, if I'm going to go on a cruise, you're the person I'm going to choose, because that congruency was there, the eloquence was there of the message. And that's what it is. It's about really knowing who you serve, who you work with, who you support. What do people get when they work with you? It's very easy for us to say, I do this, I do that, whatever. Switch it around. When people work with you, what is the end result? What do they get when they work with you? So, and think about how your message fits into a time allotted at a networking meeting. You know, do your homework before. What is the format of a networking meeting? How long are you going to get to speak? If you've only got a minute, you can't tell everybody everything you do in a minute. That's not possible. But that snapshot, that little minute, has to contain language that makes people go, oh, I'm going to reach out to them afterwards because there's some words there. I want to continue that conversation. Are you having, do you have an opportunity for a longer message? How do you talk more about what you do? How, if you run out of steam, somebody will very quickly take your time. If everybody's allocated a couple of minutes and you run out of steam after a minute, somebody else will go, oh, that's very nice, I'll have another minute. But invite people. What can I tell you more about what I do? What questions do you have for me? Make sure you use that time wisely. Often I do that in meetings with people, and they say, oh, I don't know, I can't think of anything more to tell you. I'll hand over to somebody else. And I say, oh, no, do you mind if we ask you a question? Who do we all look out for you? And then when somebody has kind of sputtered to a halt, they'll start again. Oh, thank you. Yeah, people who, or I would like, or I am looking for. And that's the ebb and flow of networking, that, you should always be actively thinking and writing down, how can you help somebody, and listening. That's the magic of it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think when there's a couple elements to all of this, and one of them, like you're saying, Jenny, is coming to the clear communication. If you are very specific about someone who you would love to work with, it just the triggers in the brain that help people bring someone to mind is really important. So if I say, I help everyone with everything, that no one's going to go, oh, cool, I'm going to send you everyone.
That's right.
Right? Oh, everyone I know. Okay, yeah. I'll make a list of everyone I know. I'm just going to send them your way. That doesn't help. But if I say to you, I'm specifically, building a group with firemen, immediately your brain goes, do I know any firemen? Right?
That's right.
Immediately. And so, and if you know one or two, your brain's immediately going to go, how do I reach out to John and connect them,
Yeah.
And so you can get very specific on a couple things. One is the person, like fireman, but like you're saying also, what's the transformation that you're helping people achieve? What is it like when after they work with you, what is that outcome? That's also specific. So if you're looking to get, like, the outcome is people to go on a cruise, maybe it's their anniversary. Hey, my outcome is for your anniversary, you're going on a cruise to the Bahamas. And so immediately my mind's going like, oh, my mom's looking for a cruise and she's wondering where to go for her anniversary. All of a sudden, specific outcome, right?
Yeah.
Very specific outcome, or a specific problem. If you help someone with back pain, or you help someone with growing on TikTok, or you help someone, do the best painting of their life.
Exactly. And be the expert in your field. Do you help people with back pain, or do you help women in pregnancy who are struggling with back pain? Be the expert in your field. And you're absolutely right. I mean, the word is specificity. It's a horrible word to try and say, but the more specific you can be, the more people can help you. And when they hear your message, and when you have that continuity of saying the same thing, I mean, obviously you can change your message, but when people know how to help you, they know, I make gluten-free and vegan cakes. So how many times have we met somebody going, oh, I love cakes, but I'm gluten intolerant, or I've just become vegan. I met somebody at the networking group. She makes vegan cakes and the gluten-free, and she delivers. Let me put you in touch. She doesn't just make cakes. She makes gluten-free cakes, vegan cakes. So that detail is super, super important. And as I say, somebody might ask you, and you might look and think, crikey, and you've got a sea of blank faces. Nobody knows how to help you. But as time goes by, you think, oh gosh, yes, I met that lady, or I met that person, and let me look at my notes and see. So being an expert in your field, or giving people the cues that they need in order to help you. I mean, here's an example, a VA. So a VA will say, I help small businesses. I help, budding entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants with their small business overload. That doesn't really mean anything. I need to know, what are you, a MailChimp expert? Do you answer telephones? Now, say when Tyson goes out and about, for example, he needs somebody to answer his telephone. And say Rainbow was a wonderful VA. And I say, Rainbow, gosh, I know Tyson's been looking for somebody to answer his phone. And Tyson, I've met Rainbow and she's a wonderful VA. Now, Rainbow might say, oh, Jen, I don't do phone answering. I do MailChimp campaigns, or I do filing or whatever. I've tried to put two people together that aren't a good fit. So what does that do? That means I look like I haven't actively listened. I have, but does it mean Rainbow wasn't specific with her message? Maybe. So by being laser focused on what you really do, that means that the rest of us can help fit the right people together. And that's how networking works.
Awesome. Now, some key things you've said, Jenny, is that there's so many networking events out there. We have the opportunity to test and tweak these things. You can go on a networking event every day for 7 days and try a different message, try to explain your things in different ways, or be more specific, or be more, a little more compelling, and see the looks on people's faces. Or if you're in a breakout room, see what engagement you get. See if they do follow up with you and join your calendar link or whatever, and get some feedback with testing and tweaking your message. And not only testing and tweaking your message, but like putting it out there and saying, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and let's sort of let's see what we can make that's the most effective, so that when I put this message out there, there's 20 people on the call, all of a sudden 5 reached out and said, hey, I want to organize a chat. And then all 5 refer back to you and say, oh, it was awesome that you did this. It was awesome that you did that. And you can ask them and say, what was it about my message? What was it that I said that allowed you to book this call, or allowed you to jump on this link, or anything like that? And just really get some feedback around that.
You can hone and shape and refine and tweak as you go. There are things you learn, and you'll get people say to you, gosh, I really resonated with you with that. I was at a networking meeting a while back. I helped people with their messaging, and there was a lady, she had joined her husband in their business. They do cameras, onboard cameras for vehicles. And it's a very, very male dominated world. And she was joining him in the business. And she said, I want to be able to turn up to networking meetings and talk about what we do. As he's busy making all the vehicles safe, but I'm the person going and talking about it. And I was talking about messaging, and she said to me, it was like he was speaking directly to me. I had to continue the conversation. So we helped shape her message in a way that she could talk about the business. And her opening line we worked on was, I'm in the business, or we're in the business of saving lives. When you open like that, we automatically want to know, oh, how, why, what do you do? And so when we start with, or you can call it provocative messaging if you like, when we start with something that piques people's interest, they want to continue the conversation. Then she was able to talk about the cameras, what they do, how to keep people safe. She can another time throw in a few statistics to make people think. There's a whole lot of information there that she can shape for a minute message, a 2-minute. Somebody said to her networking meeting, hey, Joe, could you talk for 10 minutes about what you do? You can literally, it's a bit like Lego. You've got different parts. You can add this and use that on another occasion. That's the importance. But it's having a message that you feel comfortable with, that you can see people are picking up their pencils, or they're leaning in, those little fine micro expressions that make, you can see where people are connecting and listening and reacting to what you're talking about.
Awesome. So a couple key takeaways there. Test and tweak your message, making it specific, making it compelling. really starting to play with that and think about some questions. Either your ideal clients, how can you network using these personal messages and using your communication in a way that makes your networking more effective for your clients, or people who can introduce you to your clients, seeing, okay, how can I be of service of them through networking, right? I was in a couple of years ago when we did in-person networking events. I was going to some networking events, obviously invited by my friend Johan, and who I started engaging with. I was in a room with probably maybe 50 business owners. They were all in their 50s or 60s, like 30 years plus in business, everyone. I was probably about 27 at the time. And everyone just comes up to me, he's like, oh, what do you do? Are you in school or something? And like, they thought I was maybe someone's son or something. But frequently I would get called out by the speakers as one of the super connectors of the group, one of the best networkers and super connectors of the group. And when asked, a lot of people asked, why are you here? A lot of them said Tyson Sharp, and so much business was done because of that. And I had an inkling at the time. I was working with a lot of, more corporate clients and that sort of thing. I'm not anymore. So I'm no longer, that's no longer my focus. But having that attention of saying, who is my ideal clients? Who would I like to network with? Who would I love to just have in my network as mentors, right? And seeing how can I be of service to them by connecting them with people who could be ideal clients or key sources of collaboration. Actually do it and see the momentum that it builds in your business. You can also do this within the serving circle or within whatever networking events that you guys join, and start connecting people and see what sort of momentum you can build for your own business as they reach out to you and say, how can I be of service to you? How can I connect with you with someone else or whatever? And just see how it flows. And if you do that from a very expansive, heartfelt, loving energy, you'll be very surprised with how quick it can build. So there are a few things to pay attention to, but is there anything else, Jenny, you want to add to that?
I just want to add to that, there's good and bad news. Heart-centered people often struggle to articulate what they do. And, there are statements, if you like, that people make, I do this, I'm transformational, I help with this. At the end of the day, whether we're heart-centered or we're a plumber or whatever, going back to what we were saying earlier, people want to know what happens, what the transformation is when they work with you. So be prepared to think about what do people get when they work with you. And the other takeaway, if you like, is you never know who knows who, and you never know who knows what. And if you don't ask the question, you will never know. So even if something feels random, you're asking for something, unless you ask that question, you're never going to give anybody the opportunity to be able to think about how they can help you. So be bold and ask the question. I am looking for somebody who, et cetera, et cetera. And you, as I say, you might get a sea of blank faces, but then as time goes on, people will know how to help and support you. So the degrees of separation that used to be 6 are now less than 2. We are more connected than ever. Even on this small snapshot of a call, we have a truly global audience here, global members here. So you just don't know unless you ask those questions, and who knows who and who knows what.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now, opening up for questions. I do want to close off in a sec, so we're not on Zoom for 15 hours, but questions are very welcome. Rainbow, go for it.
I just wanted to share that I've heard regarding the niche that you wanted to pass the face test. What that means is when you say what you do, somebody sees the face of somebody, either themselves or somebody that they know specifically. Oh my gosh, George is looking exactly for that. So, having it specific enough that an actual person comes to mind when you're talking about it.
Beautiful. So ask yourself the question, does that come to mind for you when you share your communication? Good stuff. Chris.
My question is if you have multiple things and you try to put it under one umbrella, that I'm finding is very confusing.
Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
do a podcast, because I do coaching, I do hypnotherapy, I'm certified in these things. And so I want to thank you guys for allowing us to have this, because the whole time I was sitting here, I was taking notes, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, what's my niche? Where's my, not my angle, but where do I want to stand out? Was the question that I kept hearing from you guys. And I just wanted to say thank you, because on my journey that I'm doing, which is something totally different. So the fact is I've got so many irons in the fire, I've got to be able to concentrate on one, and instead of being fragmented, to bring it all down to that thing.
You can continue further conversations with people. Speak about, you may speak about different things in different places, and that's absolutely okay. When you speak about lots of different things, you confuse people, because when good networkers go to meetings in the spirit of helping and supporting people, then they're actively listening. But if you start talking about one thing and then talk about another, they get confused as to how to help you, and then they don't help you at all. It's like when if you've ever been to a craft fair and you get to try some samples, there's some lovely jams, try the strawberry, try the blueberry, try the raspberry, try the this, and invariably people go, I don't know which one I like best, we'll go and have a cup of coffee and then we'll come back. But if you say, try the strawberry or try the raspberry, which do you prefer, invariably people can make a decision. But often I go to networking meetings, and sometimes if you've got a connection between what you do, that's okay, because you can continue a conversation and say, by the way, this is what I do, and that led me to starting my podcast about. But you often meet people that will say, I sell insurance, and I also am a LinkedIn expert. It's kind of like, whoa, they don't go together. And what people are trying to do is it's what they think is perceived value. Well, I've taken the time to come, or I've spent the money to come, I'm jolly well going to talk about everything I do. When really and truly what they've done is wasted their time and or their money, because they've left an audience confused. Mm-hmm. And actually, funnily enough, the funny example is the lady that I do know who really does do vegan cakes and does do gluten-free cakes, also does therapeutic socks. And she talks about both. So you're literally thinking about the cakes. And also, I sell therapeutic socks. It's kind of like, whoa, that just doesn't make sense. It's very random. I listen a lot, so I kind of write down what everybody does. But as I say, if you want to be known for that particular thing that you do, then talk consistently about that thing that you do and you do well. And then you become known as Chris is the lady you need to speak to about that. Tyson's the guy you want to speak to about that. Ask Randy about that. I keep hearing him talk about.
Awesome. So one of the, so Chris, you could even ask yourself before a speaking engagement of some kind, a networking event or a podcast, whatever, you can ask yourself, okay, given this audience, given who's going to be here, given the people who I'm talking to, do I want to promote the podcast? Do I want to invite them to the coaching? Could I solve something in particular with hypnotherapy and try out that particular message? Because if you've got an audience that, like, if you got 30 people on the call and all of a sudden you're like, this coming week I need some podcast guests, all of a sudden you've got that minute or two and be like, here's the podcast, here's the problem that we solve for people, here's the type of guests that I want, and this is the next step to to jump on and share my audience. You're gonna have people say, you're gonna have 5-6 people be like, holy shit, yeah, let's do it. But if you go to 10 networking events and you're saying both the podcast and the hypnotherapy and the coaching and this is shaman and all the stuff, and then you just got 100 people who are confused and maybe 2 reach out or something, it may be more time effective for you to ask the question beforehand, what of my disciplines do I want to promote given this situation? Therefore, if you get 4 or 5, 6 guests or whatever for the next week or 2, you might not have to promote it for the next few events, and you just need to subtly mention it instead of having it as an ask, right?
I think when you, sometimes when you present 5 modalities of how you get your information to people, they hear you do 5 different things. When in fact you do one thing, I can just deliver it 5 different ways. Are you best one-on-one coaching? Do you like listening to podcasts? In other words, my message is the same, but we've just got a lot of different ways we can get it to you.
Loving it. So if we have the specific questions we can ask ourselves around what is our message, how do we help most, who do we would like to network with, you got some things you can really build momentum on. So thank you guys for your questions. Jenny, thanks for your expertise. I'll leave that.
Just one more thing, Tyson. What you can actually do is the serving circle is a wonderful inclusive place, and it's a place where we can trust each other. It's a safe space. Actually ask somebody, what do you think it is that I do? And I've done that exercise with people in groups where I've sent people into breakout rooms to talk about what they do, and then I've said, hey Sandra, can you tell me what Julie does? And it's kind of like, ask somebody, what is it you think I do? Who is it you think I work with? And have those conversations with people. People go, I didn't really like to ask, or I think you work with people who are struggling with or needing help with or whatever, and just test the water and see if your community, when we're showing up every week and building trusted relationships, see if your community get what it is that you do.
Like it.
Yeah.
That could be the litmus test to see if your message is memorable, clear, compelling. So test it out and see. And like I said, I think moving forward, I'm not too sure how it's going to look, but I'm thinking of helping more and more people in the serving circle with their networking, whether it's putting it in the free resources or the welcome pack or something. We can do some trainings on how people can just get the most out of the serving circle, most out of the events, their connections with people. So maybe we can bring some experts together like you, Jenny, and help people just really get the tips that they need most. I'm not sure what it looks moving forward, but I'm looking to put something like that together. So we'll see what the details may be moving forward in the next few weeks or so. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for being here, guys, and all your questions and support. It's been awesome. I'll see you same day and time next week, okay?
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
to see you all. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.